Hi everyone, thank you for joining in, and I hope you enjoy our talk today about parenting children under 3. Um, a lot of people tell me that parenting peacefully works with older children. Today I'm going to share the 3 basic assumptions of peaceful parenting, and I'm going to say how do they apply to children under 3. Hopefully, in doing that, I will encourage you to approach peaceful parenting with your younger babies. So, the first assumption of peaceful parenting is that we all, as human beings, have similar needs. We just prioritize and express these needs differently at different moments. And what I like to point out here that although we have the same needs, as this assumption says, it also notes that we express them differently. Whether we're young, we're old, it's the same needs, but the expression of that need is what is different. How we prioritize them, which one is important to us, is what's different. Now, what I want you to do is examine this slide where I put a number of needs, different needs, love, appreciation, just different ones, and ask yourself these questions. One, are these needs that are meaningful to me? Do they matter? Even if little, do they matter to me or not? Two, are these needs that matter to my child, my baby? Are these, even if they matter not very much, but do they matter? Three, can I think of a need, whatever this need is, or a value that does not matter to my child but matters to me, or vice versa? And what I'm trying to point out here that really we have very similar needs to our children. Even if we both prioritize them differently, our children still have very similar needs to us. Love, safety, compassion, integrity, all of these things are things that are also meaningful to our children. So, moving on to the second assumption, which says that all actions and behaviors are attempts to meet need. When you go out with friends for dinner, that's a way of you meeting your self care need. When you go out for fresh air, that's your physical need for air, clean, for breathing. Um, it goes the same for food and for serenity when you want peace and grounding. And for running towards your child when they're crying, that's your need for contributing to their well-being and nourishing them when you're feeding them, for example. And the same goes for your child. Your child has the same needs as we have agreed before, and these needs bring up feelings within them. And these feelings sort of drive them to behave in a certain way. A really good exercise to show this is to think of something that your child does. So, pulling your hair, crying when you leave the room, just whatever it is, just think of something, a behavior that your child does. Now, before you run into writing that behavior, I want to remind you that a behavior is an action that a child does. Annoying you is not an action, it's a judgment. Wants to get your attention is an assumption. So just the action. He runs, he cries, he growls, he screams. That's an action. The second thing when you're done with the action is to think about their feeling. How are they feeling when they're doing this action? When they're pulling your hair, what are they doing? When they're pulling that, they're trying to touch that hot cup on the table. What are they trying to, how are they feeling? Feelings are body sensations or emotions. So they're feeling sad, happy, curious, angry, in pain. These are feelings. The third thing that would like you to do in this exercise is to think of what is an underlying need that they're trying to fulfill by doing this action. It could be play if they're pulling your hair, inquisitive thinking when they're trying to touch the hot cup. It's just discovery. If they're crying when you're leaving the room, maybe they're sad and it's because of their need for safety, because mommy brings safety or daddy brings safety, for companionship, for love and attention. These are all universal human needs. Moving on to the third assumption of peaceful parenting, that is really about the joy of giving, and it assumes that all of us as human beings really enjoy giving. Only, however, only when we're feeling connected to ourselves and to others and feel that we have the choice. And I want to ponder more on connected. So the question would be then why do our children, especially when under 3 or even above in that case, don't cooperate with us as much, do not enjoy that amount of giving? Well, I guess my answer is, are they connected or not? A child's brain really disintegrates when it's in a state of fear or sadness or anger. It disables a child from being able to respond to any outer stimulus in a calm and responsive way. So if your child is having a tantrum, they literally are not able to respond to you in any way. They're not able to listen to what you're saying. If you're yelling at them and this loud voice is creating fear within them, their brain disintegrates and is unable to respond to whatever is going on with you or whatever you're asking them to. And then having the choice is just a beautiful part of us as human beings. We enjoy having that independence, and like adults, children too, of all ages, enjoys that ability of choice. Now, with little children, safety is a big thing. So I think the creativity here is trying to give a child his feeling and belief of choice, but in the same sense, maintaining their safety. So now that we've shared the 3 assumptions of peaceful parenting and hopefully are more encouraged to practice it with our younger children, I guess the question becomes, what do we do next? How do we practice peaceful parenting with such little children that really don't have much to communicate in words? And I think the key here is self-connection and empathy. Really, really, it comes down to this, and understanding the differences between these two and implementing them in our lives with our children. Self connection is the understanding of yourself, really, holding yourself with care and with compassion. And that is just not judging yourself and not blaming yourself or shaming yourself for a certain behavior that we've done. I've met so many mothers and fathers that really shame themselves and judge themselves when they sometimes don't align with their values or the ways that they're hoping to deal with their children. And I think the key here to being a great parent is to hold yourself with compassion. Do not judge yourself. Do not resort into guilt, because that will just create a vicious circle of just blame and then tension and stressing you out, and then you will tend to fall in these loops again. Now, when it comes to empathy, it's really trying to understand the experience that your child is going through at a given moment. And when I say understanding, I don't really mean understanding this experience with your mind, but rather with your heart. And when it comes to little babies or children under 3, understanding their experience becomes not only understanding the behavior or what they're going through, but also understanding how does their brain function and what would be their developmental needs. For example, the piece I mentioned about how the brain functions when a child is under stress, either very sad or angry or scared. And then the child development needs is, for example, when it comes to a child's discovery need, younger children would have a tendency to discover things more, to touch things more, to want to play with things. Their physical movement becomes very, very important. Just understanding that with your heart and recognizing that in your interaction with your child will help you connect more to what's going on with them, and understanding that they're not trying to annoy you or not be supportive or whatever that is going on, and creating a discomfort or disconnection between you and your child. So whenever something comes up between you and your child, I think as a parent of a younger child, the first thing you would like to do is to understand Where's your frustration coming from? Is it that you want rest? Are you finding enough grounding, enough peace? Are your needs related to your child's safety or security? Just sort of connect with where you are, and in this connection you will find peace. And I will talk specifically about triggers in a later audio. The second thing is, of course, try to understand what your child is going through, and hopefully in doing both things you will find peace in the relationship. So that's it, everyone, for our little talk. Thank you for listening in. Please join our community, our blog, blossomfamily.weebly.com, our Facebook group, Blossom Family, Twitter, Marwa_Farouk, Skype is the same thing, and please join our newsletter. You can find it either in the link on the slide or at our blog. Thank you very much. Bye.